And Steve's a big part of that. As I said earlier, sometimes he jumps in and joins it, sometimes he goes and does something else, sometimes he holds the root note down, depending on where he wants to push the song. He does it so well considering their music is really dense and riff heavy. Somehow he finds that independence at any given moment. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Low End University. Rime of the Ancient Mariners from Iron Maiden's fifth studio album, Powerslave, released in 1984. And after my episode last year for the title track, I got a lot of requests for this one. And I knew I wanted to get to it after seeing the track length. I had no idea, honestly, that Iron Maiden had some songs this long. But apparently this song is a musical retelling of the longest major poem written by English poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge, published in 1798. And Steve Harris, who fully wrote this song, references a lot of the lines from the poem in the lyrics. And at a length of 13 minutes and 38 seconds, this was Iron Maiden's longest song for over 30 years, until it was surpassed by the 18-minute Empire of the Clouds from their 2015 album. I kind of want to check that one out now. I know I haven't heard any of these newer Maiden releases in the last 15, 20 years, but without further ado, let's get to Rime of the Ancient Mariner, the 13-minute epic album closer from Iron Maiden. Right in it. C, D, E. Okay. Okay, so I've heard a bit of Maiden, of course, but I wasn't super into them. It was really Number of the Beast, the album after that, and maybe a couple of the earlier tracks from that first self-titled album, I believe. Definitely not a 13-minute song. So my experience with Maiden is fairly limited, but I'm no stranger to Steve Harris and his amazing playing and technique. So I'm excited to see what's in store for this one. But most of what drew me into the band was the fast stuff, like the Trooper. I remember trying to learn that, and it kicked my ass, and still does today. But I like how they've kind of gone for this mid-tempo. It's got kind of a swagger and a bounce to it. Don't recall hearing many Iron Maiden tracks kind of at this speed, but it really sets up kind of more of a marathon through this epic song. It's not just right out of the gate with crazy, that kind of stuff. So down here in E, C, and D, chords they use a lot. But that's my first impressions. We got a ways to go. Get into it. Turnaround's cool. I think the bass is joining in that. There it is. Once again, Steve jumping up and catching the harmonies, almost as like if they had three guitar players. And I know they did. It would be like having a fourth. He always jumps up and tends to just go where they go in range. It gives this kind of pull in the higher part of the composition. And I think it allows them to come down and drop back low, especially on the bass, and just have that dynamic range. Always something I really liked about his playing. Yeah. Okay. Like that. Two kind of modes he's going through there. The first time he jumped in and played more of the guitar. Right here. Now we're here. Just what a creative player. I talk a lot about the hybridization of, you can follow the guitar parts, or you can be more of the anchor and favorite kind of what the drums are doing. And the bass has that freedom. And he showcases that possibility all the time in their music. Jumping up on the first time, catching the harmonies. And then on the same part, going down and holding down the root notes and controlling what the chord progression is. first time he's joining in. Now he's down here playing bass, literally, and the role of the bass. So I like that he's demonstrating that in two, distinct parts that are really close together to kind of hear the difference. Okay, let this go for a bit. Kind of starting to expand on that riff now. I feel like they're showing a bit of restraint, just slow burning, just expanding those little turnarounds. It was a little more complex this time, which is good pacing for a song this long. Again, slowly adding a little more. We have liftoff. That's a cool way to pace it. They really leaned into that one riff that's kind of repetitive, but they foreshadow in the transitions. The transitions got a little longer and a little longer, just kind of growing. That's great songwriting. And that's a thing I've not listened to Iron Maiden for. Don't hate me for that comment. I got into them because of the crazy chops and just the technicality of it, the speed. And it was a very brief stint of hearing those couple albums I had on iTunes back at the time, but I just have never listened to them for anything other than that. And I feel like I'm going to get a dose of it in this long song. But we have liftoff here. The sky's the limit. Let's see.
There goes the mariner, there comes a ship on the lake. But how can she sail with the
Just like finger exercises. It's kind of cool. Okay, this next part. That's where Steve gets me. We've had this discussion on some of the other Iron Maiden videos I've done. I guess it's only been 2. This will be my 3rd one. For a long time, I thought he used the 3-finger technique. And I swear it still seems like the jury is out on that. I feel like people have said, Steve said in this interview he doesn't. And then Steve said in this interview he does. I still don't know where I'm at on that. I don't know. But he gets me in the sense that I would have to play those kind of actual triplet lines that are going over multiple strings, leading with 3 fingers. Because it throws off your 1-2, 1-2 way too much. And I think he's probably the master of that, if that's true, and he only uses 2. Galloping, I feel like I can do all day long. However you want to do it. But when it comes to actual straight triplets, it's really weird because he's kind of going. Sounds like kind of a Mixolydian thing there. just doing 2 fingers. It's really weird. So if that's true, that's the most impressive part about this part here.
She wings the mariner and he belongs to her now. Crew one by one, they drop down dead. 200 men. She likes the dead. She lets him live. Her chosen one.
Something like that. Woo. Some weird chords here. Dude must have a bionic arm, man. That is relentless. That's just relentless. No stops, no rests. Just going up and down, moving chords, keeping that same kind of pattern going. It sounds like a scale chop builder exercise. It's just relentless. Some interesting chord transitions here. Kind of went out of key a bit. Trying to see where they're going musically.
She wings the
Let me just hear it one more time.
belongs to her now. Crew one by one,
Skip forward a bit. Right here. F. Very chromatic there. It's relentless. Where are they going with this? I don't know. But he's got a bionic arm, I'll tell you that. A major, okay. Okay. Ooh, it's kind of rotating panning-wise. Eerie. Almost sounds like an augmented chord there. It's like almost too happy, whereas this is major, 1, 3, 5. So you make a major third, then you raise the fifth, so you got 3 and sharp 5, make it augmented. It's almost like some Alice in Wonderland, eerie, sinister, kind of happy soundtrack stuff. Okay, some cool setup, just texture-wise here. Okay, he's kind of just planing that same shape in a minor third interval. I think.
One after one, by the star-dug
Okay.
too quick for groan or sigh. Each turned his face with a ghastly pang, and cursed me with his eye.
I wonder if this is from that poem.
4 times 50 living men, and I heard no sign.
Seems appropriate.
With heavy thump, a lifeless lump, they dropped down one by one.
Okay, so he's just moving augmented chords around. Augmented 1, 3, sharp 5. Goes down a minor third. I think that one's right. Goes back to A. And instead of going down to F sharp, he goes down to just G, so just a whole step. And the more you you just kind of play around with that augmented sound, which I've never known how to describe. It's like too happy, eerie happy. It almost sounds kind of normal now. Just repetition. This is a vibe. Slow shift to minor now. It's a second version D minor. Down a whole step to the same thing but G. So C over G, or second version C minor. That's a subtle, just one note difference to go from that augmented sound now to this. There's something that's just really alluring about 3-note chords on a bass. It really draws you in. Like, it wouldn't have remotely the same effect if it was on guitar. Even piano, really. Something about the bass. There's something just really simple and raw about it. That's the perfect texture for, I don't know, the subject matter. Oh, it's the same progression. A, G, and F sharp is the augmented side. Okay. It's like Number of the Beast. Almost. This is awesome.
And by the light of the moon, he prays for their beauty.
Mirroring the vocal line. This is more the traditional Steve Harris kind of. If you're in D major now, we've taken that really gloomy, kind of melancholy sound and really brightened it up, going into what's kind of like a permutation of Number of the Beast. It reminds me of that riff, same key and everything. A little bit different accents, but nonetheless. Cool way to bring it back in with bass, give it a bit more energy.
With heart he blesses them, God's creatures, all of them too. Then the spell starts to break. The albatross falls from his neck, sinks down like lead into the sea. Then down it falls, comes around.
Man, this song is an encyclopedia for what you can do on bass. There's just so many things. I'm trying not to stop too much, but I don't want to let these things go by because this is chock full of multiple approaches for bass. The chords, the galloping, the triplets, soft dynamic stuff. Now we're back into where this is like Steve's land with the kind of raking over 2 strings. A lot of cool subtle note changes here, going from D major to D minor, kind of back and forth. It's kind of like this dark light thing. So we have, and it goes down here, major second to D minor. Back to D major. And the same thing down in here. Flat major 6, flat major 7, back to major 1. It's just, it complemented the vocals really well. I like that kind of, it's almost like a duet between bass and vocals. Then you have the guitars not doing anything melodic. They're just over here kind of like idling in the distance, ready to, I guess, hit that big downbeat when he screamed and yelled. Typical Bruce. Yeah! Epic. Right there. This is masterful dynamic stuff here. Back to a triplet. Okay. A. It's a buttery guitar solo. A buttery ass guitar solo. I like how he started out kind of leaned into that blues sound a bit. You know, wherever he went, but it's just had a really buttery start. Creamy. We're back where we started now. Back here in E, C, D, and E. So really, really gradual full circle here in terms of the key and tonal center. It's like epic. Regal. Phrygian dominant for a second. It's kind of like an iteration of the previous turnaround. I was kind of harping on at the intro. Just a bit of a different flavor on that one. Okay. Now we're really back in the intro. Back to E. Up to the B. It's like a good warm-up lick. That's not a reductive thing. I just like the way it sounds. You know, I'm hearing this piece, and I know enough about Iron Maiden to know, and I've always thought this, their music has like a really kind of classical Baroque play on harmony. And just made me think about it, thinking about this poem being 1798 and the history just behind the lyrics. But the way they use harmony, and it's nothing like abstract or avant-garde or weird. It's pretty diatonic harmony stuff they're doing, but just the phrases they use and the way they kind of coalesce and weave around the riffs has a real kind of like a Bach kind of etude. It just has that counterpoint kind of going on. And Steve's a big part of that. As I said earlier, sometimes he jumps in and joins it. Sometimes he goes and does something else. Sometimes he holds the root note down. depending on where he wants to push the song. Steve is such a huge control element of that band, completely changes the way a riff comes across. And he does it so well considering their music is really dense and riff heavy. Somehow he finds that independence at any given moment. It's kind of my takeaway. We got 1 minute and 30 seconds or so left. This has been a total bass showcase. Awesome. Don't have that one down. It's fun to play. Big nice E minor ending. Are we there? That's the end of the album too. Whew. That was a long one. I love epic tracks. Coming from the prog world, I love where a long song can take you if it's done right. In fact, this might be the longest song I've done on the channel besides The Decline from NoFX. Still one of my favorite episodes, but we've done Dream Theater, Glass Prison, Ants of the Sky, Between the Buried and Me, and anything past that, don't think it's been this long. So an epic track, they're just fun. They really take you on a ride, and I like how Iron Maiden approached the typical things you do in an epic song. Got to really take you somewhere, bring you down, bring you up, but they did it in their own way with a few smart moves. They didn't have anything like crazy, wild, unexpected turns. They just kind of took you on a tour through their sound. The fast gallops, the harmonized guitar solos, multiple modes of Steve Harris's bass playing, being the bass, joining in, having an independent line. He just triangled through all three. Brought you down with some bass chords, brought it back in really smoothly. Played with different sounds, dark and light, and this was kind of like a world tour of Iron Maiden's sound, figuratively speaking. So this was a real treat to get to. It's been on my list a while. I've bumped it down a lot to get to other things because I haven't seen a lot of requests for it lately, but a lot from last year. And I'm glad I got to it. This was fun. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Steve Harris is a beast. This was great. If you'd like to support the channel further, come find us on Patreon. I do full album reactions there, have tons of bass lessons and music resources. If you're into that, if you enjoyed this long episode, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. I love you all. Thanks for hanging, and we will see you next time.